Hi, I'm James the Box Office Artist, and welcome everyone to another tutorial. And this tutorial is how to construct, draw, and render a female superhero. Okay, so a lot of you have been asking me how to draw the female figure or do female anatomy. When, in matter of fact, like female anatomy, it's very similar to male anatomy in that we all pretty much have the same muscles, we all have the same skeleton. There's some physical differences, for example, but I think the main difference between a female and a male is mostly the hips, really. And it's really what you are trying to go for. Are you going for a realistic look? Are you going for something that is very cartoony? Are you going for something that you would go into comic books? So the fact is, drawing female anatomy, it's let's just say there's so many different avenues you could go with. So I think this is one of those things where you could do multiple tutorials on drawing a female. You know, females of all different shapes and sizes. So today I'm going to be focusing on something very specific. So that's why this particular video, we will just be focusing on how I personally would draw a female superhero. Okay, so and we are just going to do a standing pose like we did with the male. Now, again, later on we could do tutorials where I'll show you guys how I would pose the superhero, but for now I just want you guys to understand how I would construct it, how I would put it together. And I'll be completely honest with you guys, it's very, very similar to the way I construct a male whenever I'm drawing him, right? They're just those few differences, but the main difference is the hips. I go over that in my tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started on drawing a female superhero. Okay, so let's get into the lesson here, and let's start with this female character, and we are going to just do a very, very, very simple standing pose. Okay, so I know a lot of you, I'm still working on my lighting, guys, so trying to figure out the best way to arrange everything. But okay, just for the tools of the trade again, starting out with my favorite, the Pilot Color Eno Lead. Okay, this is a 0.7. I am actually using a Canson comic book art board for this one, just because we get the lines here. It feels more schooly to me. Okay, and let me just try to adjust my lighting a little bit here so that you can see better. So I will do my best so that you guys can see this properly. I know some of you have asked me to help fix my lights and everything, but I will get on that. Okay, so I think we will just do like a standard pose here. Okay, so I always start off usually like a roughing out the head, and I told you guys I keep banging into your heads, guys, thinking 3D, okay? But even with that, then I start with the skeleton. So okay, so let me just double check you guys can see what I'm doing here, and then you actually can't see the top, so I'll just move the camera up a tiny bit here. Okay, so and the good thing is, because you know I'm not going to publish this or anything, I'm going to, you know, darken up these lines. Now what I like to do is I like to rough out the skeleton first, and you've seen me do this on numerous occasions here. Okay, so we have different points that kind of mimic the skeleton. Now usually, again, like I said before, usually when people stand, one hip, they put all their weight on one leg. Okay, and that's what I'm doing here, and I'm representing that by having this hip joint up a little bit higher and this hip joint lower. Okay, so I don't know, I'm thinking about having this leg come forward and then this leg come to the side. Maybe I'll put this in a little bit of perspective again, like I did the last one we did. So in all honesty, whether male female, the start is the same. The start is the same here. Okay, so same sort of skeleton. Okay, now I'm gonna roughen the hands. I'm thinking I might do something where her hands are on her hips. So I'm having the elbow out here, and then the one hand here on the hips here, and then since this is in perspective, this arm would go back a little bit more, and then back like that, and then we have the head, the joint that connects the head to the torso here. Okay, and done. So that's no, we are not done. So that's pretty much the skeleton. Okay, so at this point I'm just gonna see. Okay, so again, I'm just thinking about the perspective. Again, this is pretty much the same pose as the one we did with the Wolverine one we did a couple weeks ago. Okay, now just to get that feel. here. So what few things I want to measure. Like usually, okay, sorry for my jumble words, everyone. Usually the head, in terms of comic books, a superhero is usually 9 heads high. I believe in real life, if you're trying to draw a real life person, it'll be like 8 heads, but a superhero should be a little bit more larger than life. That's why we go 9 heads high. Like, in all honesty, I don't get too, worked up about it. I just try to, see if I can eyeball it. But just to measure, I'm taking my thumb. See, it's roughly about the size of my thumb here, so I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8. So usually the girl is shorter than the guy anyway. So maybe we do want like 8 heads. But how many people go around with a ruler looking at comic drawings and saying, "Oh, this guy's a little bit too short"? You could just feel it, really. Okay, so right now I'm just roughing in some guidelines here for the head. And again, you see, I'm still using the circles, right? Still using the circles like I said in my other tutorials. Okay, thinking in 3D. Now I'm going to rough in the torso. Here, usually the torso runs around here like this. Okay, and then you see me do this before. So basically, I'm constructing the inside. Now, the biggest differences between the male and the female. Pretty much the biggest difference is the hips. Is the hips here. And the female, no matter what size a female is, the hips are wider. They are wider than the male. So what I'm doing here, just so you could see, I'm drawing this kind of like a mannequin. So you can see here, these are the hips, okay? And then usually the hips, they extend all the way to like the midsection to where the belly is. Okay, so again, everyone, this is not a realistic human that I'm drawing here. It will have realistic feel to it, but at the same time, this is more something you would see in an actual comic book. Okay, so if you want to do more of a realistic person, I suggest life drawing. Okay, and maybe I will do a tutorial that will be a little bit more realistic. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding cylinders here. Okay, for the legs. So this is the one leg here like this. Okay, and then like I said before, we're going to have this leg come here, maybe facing forward here like this. Now I don't want it to look like her knees bent here. It's starting to look like that, but I will fix that in a second. Okay, and now I'm going to draw the other leg here. Here like this. In actuality, I just changed the joint here. Okay, and then the other leg, other foot goes down here. Let me just double check the camera, make sure you could see the foot, which you cannot, so I'm just going to zoom out a tiny bit. I don't want you to see the tape on my paper, but there you are. So there's the foot here, there's the foot here. Okay, so I can always adjust these proportions. Right now, this is just the rough. Okay, and now I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to go from this shoulder joint here. Sometimes I make that judgment here, like whether I should move this arm in or not. So I'm just going to move this in a tiny bit, and then I'm going to have one cylinder here for the bicep, and then one cylinder here for the forearm. Okay, so male, female, all muscles for the most part are the same, right? They are the same. That's what makes us humans. We all have the same muscles here. In all honesty, the biggest difference is this hip area. For me, anyway. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, so now we have a cylinder going this way here like this. So it's going back into space. Again, we're trying to keep with the perspective here. And then we have the other cylinder that goes like this. Okay, so just roughing those in, just drawing the hands here to get those hands on the hips like this. Okay, so again, guys, it's a matter of like the actual proportions itself, depending on how realistic you want to go, how cartoony you want to go. Like if you want to go like really cartoony, like old school, like you would get really close to these joints. If not, we just thicken it up a little bit here. Okay. And then the calves here, I would slim them down a little bit. And one thing, we don't want to put bigger thighs on this particular superheroine here. So the way, like when you study the way guys like Jim Lee draws a female, like he'll put muscles on him. He will, okay? So again, it's a style preference, right? And it's not wrong as long as the anatomy is accurate. It's not wrong. Okay, now you don't want to put big bulking bodybuilder style muscles on a female. Unless you want to, unless that's the look you're going for. But again, that is up to you and how you want to draw your people, okay? So it's all a style choice at the end of the day. It's all a style choice. Okay, so now we're gonna draw the chest area here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna rough it in. Okay, guys, let's not be behave. When I say that, behave. Okay, guys, because you know, I don't, you know, let's not get juvenile, especially in the comments, guys, please, because I have a lot of kids who actually follow my channel, and it would mean a lot to me, guys, if we let's keep it professional here, okay? So we're just drawing a chest area here, okay? And we don't want to get too big, but like, but again, like this circle here, think in 3D, okay? So this is going to be actually flat. And one thing you got to think about is gravity, the way that gravity pulls down the chest area for the woman. Okay, so it would actually collect around here. So the areolae would be like somewhere like around here, but we're not going to draw those in. No need to. Okay. Because actually, looking at this rib cage that I drew before, the rib cage should be like a little bit lower here. Okay. So what's really going to make or break your woman drawing is, number one, how you draw the hair, okay, and the accessories around them. But the biggest thing is this hip area that really distinguishes it from the male figure. Okay. And especially with the superhero characters, of course, you know, usually we draw our male characters with a lot of muscles, especially the superheroes with a lot of muscles. Even the normal characters, they won't have a lot of muscles, but they would probably be like a regular, you know, like a stronger built person nowadays. So, okay. So there we go. Okay. Okay, so I'll probably be doing another tutorial about, you know, actual action poses that we could do with the female, especially. Like we did one with the Black Panther for the male, and even the male, there's a whole different avenue of ways, you know, I could show you guys of how to make poses. So, but for now, let's just do standing for now. Okay, just gonna take my eraser. I'm gonna erase a little bit this kneecap here because I'm trying to judge how this legs look, because right now, as of right now, it's looking a little wonky for me. Okay. So I think I went a little too round with the chest here. Okay. So one thing I always have trouble with is the shoulder part for women, because sometimes I make them too bulky. And then, you know, it doesn't look that great, the bulk. And you want to keep the traps. I like to keep the trapezius, which is this area here. I don't want that to be too thick as well. Again, personal preference, guys. So I'm just going to draw the collarbone in there like that. Sorry for the lead breaks. Constant lead breaks. That's the only problem with this pencil. You'll get a lot of constant lead breaks. Okay. So the question is, how do I want this head to look? Here. Okay. Maybe I'll tilt it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to erase this a little bit. Again, guys, always thinking in 3D here. Always thinking in 3D. Okay, so now, at this point, it's pretty much roughed in. Okay, I know where the forms are going to be. Okay, I have the general idea at this point here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and start doing some details. And looking at this now, I decided maybe it's cool because the hands are on the hips. What if I made her Supergirl? I thought that'd be interesting, so I'm going to be drawing her as Supergirl. Now, things to keep in mind, okay? So sometimes women like to have their belt like right around the tummy area, right around here, okay? Or a little bit lower. So that's up to your discretion. Play around with what you like. So for her, I think I will start with the belt here. So I'm gonna do a little bit like this, okay? And even here, I'm looking at this this rib cage here. Like, I think I only want a slight impression of the rib cage here, so just deleting that a little bit. Let me zoom into the upper body area here so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm just gonna erase this thick line here. So you get a nice thin line here. Okay, good. And now let's draw the insignia, the Superman insignia. Now, this is where you're going to get the most form. The way you draw this insignia here, because, you know, it should shape around the chest area here. So it's actually more through this insignia where you get the form, okay, than the actual lines you draw. So I'm trying to have the feel of the curve across here. Okay. There you go. Oh, bad insignia here. Okay, and then this triangle should look like it's going back this way. Okay, that's not very good. I gotta fix this. Not happy with that. We'll erase this a little bit. Okay, now little details. This particular Supergirl costume has a line that goes down like this. And again, with these lines are great because they kind of help with the form of the chest area here. And then let's opening here like that. Okay, good. And now let's add the skirt area. So, well, it's up to you how far you want down the skirt. So I'm just roughing it in, see what I like here. So again, in perspective, skirt should also be going this way. Okay. Okay, so now let me just add a couple more details here. So you're going to add a cape. So I'm going to add just some lines here, just for the general idea where the cape is going. So really, you could do the cape any way you want, really. The only thing is, okay, if you're going to draw a cape, okay, so this isn't really female body related, but you know, you could apply this to anything, whether you're drawing male or female. Depending on how you would do the cape, if you have other things that flow, they should flow the same. Whether they be the skirt, okay, whether it be the hair, it should all flow the same way. Okay, so I'm gonna have the hair actually. I actually have the hair floating this way, okay? So it's going to go around like this. Okay. Alright, so I'm trying to see how far down this skirt goes here. Okay, so it just covers the pelvic region. Here like that, okay? Now let me just rough in the face a little bit. Okay, guys, and please don't expect this to look like the TV series, because I'm just playing around here. So, and I want to do this pretty quickly for you guys. Again, this video is real time. So if I wanted to try to get the likeness of the actress here, I would have really taken more time. But I want to get this done for you. Okay, so the main point of this is really drawing the actual body itself here. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw the lips here. This mouth might be a little bit too far over, but I will fix that in a second here. Okay. Okay. So looking at it now, like whenever you're at this point, you take a step back, and then see how you feel about it. Are you okay with the proportions? Are you okay with the certain parts of the character here? Okay. Always take a real step back. Sometimes you might even go across the room if your drawing's big enough, and just take a look and see, is this, does this feel right? Do the proportions feel right? Now she looks a bit strong. She does. So let me see what I could do in the inking stage about that. But I think I'm going in the inking stage. But again, this character here, it's a very strong, strong woman character. That's what we are going for this particular instance. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in, and we are going to start with the upper body here. So let me just zoom in up here like this. Okay, and then let me get my weapons of choice, which is the microns. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to start out with the 0.5. Okay, we'll just use the 0.5 for everything for now, and then we will go back with a thicker micron to kind of make everything, like tie everything together. So I will go over all the edges again with the micron. Okay, but let's start off. Let's quickly get the face out of the way here, because the main part is the body. So I'm going to go here and then draw in the face. Here, let's start with the eyes. I always like to add a little bit of a highlight in the eye, even though it's far away here. Okay, I'm just drawing the upper eyelid there, and then now I'm gonna. Now remember before what I said when I was drawing the female face before? Less is more. This is coming from a guy who always says more is more. Less is more here, people. So you want to put the most detail in the eyes, in the lips. Okay, and then just gonna join this a little bit here, like that. And now I'm gonna draw the nose here, just rough in the nose. So we want the nostril. Here like that. Then I'm just gonna a little detail. Bridge of the nose there. Okay, and now I'm just gonna draw in the lips quickly here. Okay. And because this head is a lot smaller than the one I did with the tutorial, we don't have to worry about too much detail there because it's much smaller. Okay, now let's draw just the head here again. The jawline, okay, shouldn't be so square, and I think I made a little bit too square here. Like that. Okay, so that's the chin there, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw in the neck. Okay. Okay, and again, we're going to try to keep the trapezius muscle, and we're going to try to keep it smaller here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and draw some of this cape in here. I'm going to draw some cape. So the cape is attached to like this collarbone line here for both sides. And then actually let me just draw this collarbone. It's not really collarbone, this the edge of the costume here, which pretty much is where the collarbone should be. And now I'm going to go in and strokes like that, add in the cape. Okay, good. So I'm just going to go back here and take a look at how we're doing. Okay, not too bad. Okay, now I'm just going to draw little bits, parts of the neck like that. Okay, so now, alright, let's get to the ear. I'm going to draw the ear here. And because, you know, I made a mistake here before with the jaw, I'm just shading that in a little bit just to see if I can hide that mistake. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the hairline. I'll probably come back to the hair. I'm just going to draw a little bit of the hair here. And the hair will be curving around here like this. You know, draw your hairs in lumps, guys. Draw them in lumps, and then you can always add the details later once you figure out the different hair lumps. Because I want the hair to kind of flow back there. Sometimes I'll have like one or two strands like this, representing maybe three or four strands that go around like that. Okay, so again, I'll probably revisit the hair a little bit later on. Okay, so now I'm going here, I'm going to draw the other side of the hair. And again, guys, I will come back to this in a minute. So I'm just drawing some strands there. Now we see this part of the ear, so I'm just going to complete the inside of the ear here. Okay, good. Now, let's get to this body part here. Let's get to it. So, I'm going to go ahead and draw this part here. Start with the insignia. Superman insignia. Here we go. Means hope. Okay, I'll probably get to the details in a little bit. What am I doing now? I'll do it now. Don't be lazy. Okay, so here, and then I'm going to draw the bottom part here. And I'll let you guys know right now, out of experience, okay, this isn't Superman, this is Supergirl. But when I was working at DC Comics, they were very, very, very particular on how you drew Superman. Very, very, because of course how iconic he is. He had to be drawn a specific way, and you could not deviate from that. So I actually have a really, really interesting story about that. But I'll do that in one of these throwback episodes, okay, when I go through some of my Wonder Woman art. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of detail to this insignia here. Okay, again, you guys don't have to do all this detail here. But it's just something for me, just because I like it. Okay, now let's get to drawing the upper body. So I'm going to start here with the shoulders. So I'm actually just drawing a little bit of folds here in the corner where the shoulder meets the upper chest area. Okay, and then I'm going to actually draw in this shoulder here. Okay, and now I'm going to draw this chest area here. Okay, now the rib cage here like this. There you go. Now, the other side. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm just adding. What I'm adding here, you see these box lines here? These are folds. What these are, there are folds in the clothing here. Might not be 100% accurate, but I will see what I can do to fix all that. But again, this is where the shoulder meets the upper chest. Okay, and now I'm even inclined to bring in this line even more than before. Okay, like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw this line here, this detail of the costume, which goes around. Okay, and then I'm going to draw it also here. Like that. Okay, and then when I get to the blacks, I will show you guys how I'm going to render this part of the costume here. Because again, I'm imagining the lining is coming this way so we could see more of it. Alright. So again, guys, this is a more like a Jim Lee-ish feel to these characters here. Like this is not J. Scott Campbell style or Michael Turner style. Two of my heroes actually, J. Scott Campbell, Michael Turner. But what I wanted to portray here is like a character that looks strong, a strong looking female, strong looking superheroine. Okay. Okay, so the arms wouldn't be the skinniest. Okay, they would have a little bit of meat to them, a little bit of thickness here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and then again draw folds where I believe one part of the arm meets the other part of the arm, where the upper arm meets the forearm. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to draw the elbow here. That's the elbow. And have that eat in a little bit here like this, and then have the bottom of the forearm come and have this nice curve that goes down like this here, like that. Okay, very nice. Now I'm just going to step back a little bit and see how I like it. And I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot actually. It looks pretty good. Okay, so I am going, actually, before I go ahead and draw that hand and finish up some details here. So first of all, this belt. Going around like that. Going around like this here, okay. Then we're going back around here. So really this belt, it's really an indicator of the flow of this surface of the hip here. So you should be able to feel that. You should be able to feel this belt going around the shape. Now the way I'm doing these folds here, the way I'm portraying this chest area here, I'll let you know right now, this is very influenced by the way Travis Charest drew his women. Okay, so there was no need to go around. There was no need to accentuate certain points of it. Okay, that would come from this area here like this, okay? Now what I do want is, see, as right now, guys, I'm just kind of playing around with this rendering here, see if I like it. Because I'm trying to play around if I'm going to actually add a shadow here or not. And I might come back to this. See, I'm not even sure I like that, what I'm doing there. But you'll understand what I'm doing there in a minute. See, sometimes I'll go ahead and finish the whole thing before I start adding shadow, but I'm just trying to problem solve in my head here how I want this particular part of the body to look over here. Okay, and I'm actually going to add one more line here like this, just because. Okay, now let's add the other arm. Okay, so we have the nice strong bicep here. Okay. And then again, I'm trying to add some folds here to the actual costume itself, so we can have that feel. Okay. Okay, now let me just add some detail here like this. More detail here like this. Okay. So what I'm thinking now, and these lines, all these lines are, it's just a way for us to feel the shape, the overall shape of this character here. And I'm at a point where I'm trying to think if I'm going to emphasize that by adding some black there, or however I'm going to do it. So I haven't 100% committed to how I want to do it at this point, but I will make that decision very shortly. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and then rough in some fingers here. Well, rough in with the ink anyway. Okay, so because the way the hand goes around here, like usually you see a hand, it would pop up like this, right? It would pop. You see the way the hand hinges like this. So in essence, these fingers should be more up. And have that feel. Have that feel that, you know, the wrist, or the underneath the hand here, the hand is actually going behind this skirt here. So I'll rough that in to show you. So if we were to actually draw this, oops, lead breaks all over the place. Same with this. So the thumb would be somewhere here. The thumb would be somewhere here behind her, as you can see. But of course we're not drawing that particular part, it's just for us to understand, what's going on here. Okay, so in terms of the skirt, again, I want that feel that skirt is blowing this way a little bit, so okay, so I'm just going to draw the different parts of the skirt here. Now Supergirl has this like one fold in the front, that's why I have that apparent, but then the rest, it's pretty much one cloth that kind of goes across here like that. So one thing we want to do whenever we do clothing like this is make sure that this area has the form. Like this has the form the form of the leg that's underneath it. Okay, that's why it's very important to kind of, at the very least, rough out what's underneath the clothing. And that's one thing I learned in modeling too. You want to build the model underneath so you know how. Whoops. And again, I did not show you that part. I apologize, guys. Gotta always make sure that I show you what's going on. So I'm actually going to back up a little bit because we're going to concentrate more on the bottom part, the legs area. Like so. Okay, so we want to make sure that all of this cloth here, it has the feeling that it's going around on top of the form that's underneath it, okay? Again, always, always, always thinking in 3D, guys. Always, always, always. So I'm going to draw the leg here like this. Now it's up to you. Like there's some comic artists who really, really emphasize the quad of the female. Some don't. Your discretion, guys. Your discretion. Whatever you feel looks better for you. Me personally, I'll add a little bit, but not too much, because I find if you add too much quad in there, you know, it just doesn't sit right with me. Doesn't feel the best. Not that there's anything wrong with women with really big quads. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's just for this particular drawing, I don't think it would feel right. Okay. So again here, drawing these lines again to re-emphasize the form here. Okay. So as you can see here, guys, and I will probably be doing another tutorial on actually folds and clothing. But right now, I'm sticking my fold detail, as you see here, to relegate it to the actual joint areas. Okay. It's very rare that you'll actually see me put it somewhere that's not a joint area. But for this particular case, it's mostly joint areas. So, by the way, guys, quick tip before I actually do that tutorial on clothing. Again, the best way to learn how to draw things like clothing is draw from life. So I would actually go and then hang a shirt, okay, or crumple it up, or take a picture of a shirt with on a guy's arm, have it have him flex his arm, and then see how the clothing forms, and then see why it forms. That's even more important. Why is the clothing folding those particular ways? Is it because the arm's bent this way and that way? And then you'll start seeing patterns, okay? Because sometimes, guys, when we look at a drawing and it doesn't look right, it's because in real life we understand how it should look. Even subconsciously, we understand how it should look. And then sometimes we'll just dismiss it as a bad drawing when you don't exactly know why, but then in the back of your head's telling you, hey, those folds don't look right. They just don't. Real clothing would not look that way. Like, it has to be familiar enough to the brain for it to process that. So, okay, so I'm going to go down here. Okay, and I'm actually going to zoom down here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing with the legs. So see, guys, nothing special with the legs. Okay, very similar to a man's legs, but then when I would draw the man's legs, it would be more muscular, of course. I've been on a big thigh kick with the way I draw men for some reason recently. I have to correct that. And one way to correct that, guys, is if you actually stand back again. If you're not in a rush to get your drawing done, stand back, take a minute or two just to see if all the proportions are lining up here. Okay. Alright, now I'm just adding some little bit of detail. Here to the leg. Okay, now let's finish off this drawing here, or at least the structure of the drawing, and then I'm going to go in and add some shadow. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back. Oh, you see my tape. You see my tape. I get back here like this. I'm going to zoom out quite a bit so I can see the full figure here. Just adjusting the camera, guys. Bear with me, please. There we go. Okay. See, even looking now, the thighs feel a little bit big to me. They do feel a little bit big. You could go back and correct that if you like. Sometimes if you put a finger over here, and then you can see where some of the problems are. Okay, like even this forearm here feels a little bit big to me now. So things you don't notice right away. So I'm probably going to go back and try to fix a few of these areas, but let's finish the rest of the drawing first. And then we're going to see if with the black we could correct some of these problems here. So you guys have been noticing, if you're a frequent follower of my channel, you guys know I like going straight to ink. So it's not as easy as just erasing things. And for the most part, I can work with whatever I draw on the board. Now, is this a situation where I will need to go and white out everything? Which I have before in the past, of course, and a lot of you seen me do that as well. Just the parts that would be in shadow. I would add a little bit of black like I'm doing here. I might add some black in here. I'll just do that with my 0.5 here. Even though I don't like to do that because it wastes the ink a little bit on my smaller pens. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of detail to this hair, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt something here, guys. Okay, so sometimes this is one good thing about a Sharpie. Okay, or at least, you know what, and I changed my mind. Instead of the Sharpie for the outline, I might go with a 0.8 instead. So let me just do that. Actually, now looking at it, because I can't find my 0.8, let's use a 0.5. You guys see, this is a 0.5, upside down 0.5. 0.5. Okay, so we're gonna go in and try to fix some of this stuff here. And this 0.5 is actually kind of dried out. Okay, so forget that. Let's go in with the Sharpie, okay? So I'm going to start adding in some darks here. So I'm hoping this works, guys. Okay, now what that did, just that one line did, it really slimmed her down, no? It did. So I'm going to go in here, add some black here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to try to calm down this arm a little bit because it feels a little too thick at this juncture. Okay. There you go. You know, that feels a lot better. It feels a lot better, for sure. Okay, but now that I've done that, I'm gonna add some more darks in the skirt itself, pretty much to match what I did here. But again, guys, when I'm thinking about how the rendering is going, I'm thinking about the form that's underneath. That's why it's great I have these blue lines here underneath to help me understand what's going on. Now I think I made these thighs a little bit too big. Okay. So the good thing about this thick line underneath the skirt, it emphasizes the shadow that it's having on the legs here. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and add a lot of black to these boots area, because her boots are like a sort of a darkish red. So again, guys, this is a style choice. You don't have to do this. But for me, you know me and my blacks, it's what I like to do. Okay, guys, if I'm going too fast for you, or you feel there were parts where, you know, I'm just not talking, like now, and you need me to explain certain things, please do let me know below. Just ask me any question you like in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer your questions, okay? Okay. So I'm just going to clean up some of this part here because it just feels rough to me. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness here, a little bit here. Then I'll fix those nails in a second. So actually, and I'm also going to go here and then with the Sharpie, so now I'm going to go again with the 0.3 and then start adding some detail here. And then your hatching lines, guys, your hatching lines. This is what defines form here. So if you are doing the hatching route, and again, you don't have to. This is pure style at this point here. Okay, again, as long as you got the structure down. As long as you got the structure down, you could render this any way you like. Okay. Okay, just taking a look here. Look, see, all right. So I'm gonna go in here and then add a little bit of detail. His bicep here. And just adding a little detail to where the deltoid would meet the bicep and tricep here. Okay. I'll tell you right now, this hand looks funky. I apologize for that. Okay, and then sometimes I'll go in and then add some lines here where the belt meets the cloth. And then I'll add some more detail here like this. And then I would add detail in the belt, but because it's metal, the detail would be different. Be more shiny, be more of these like reflection type lines, which I showed you guys before. Okay, now I'm going to go down here. Start adding some detail down there. Okay, so again, all my little tricks apply. Sometimes drawing some lines around here just so you know, I can fake the form. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of shadow to this. Area here, a little shadow here, a little shadow here. By thinking of those lines. Whoops, apologize for that. Okay, and now should take a thicker Sharpie. Oh, first of all, let's finish off the hair here. So again, I'm not gonna add that much black to the hair. Just a little bit on the outline. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit. The only place I add black all the time, guys, again, is like where, you know, behind the head. I'm going to go ahead and darken this up here like this. So this marker's running out here. It's streaking a little bit. That's okay. Okay. Now I'm inclined. I think I put too much black here. I might fix this particular area here. Okay, and again, I apologize when I make mistakes, guys. I know a lot of you are following along in real time as I'm drawing. I'm trying to design these so that that you can follow along in real time. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish these blacks here, and then I'm just going to add a few more finishing touches, and then we'll call this done. Okay, so I'm just going to try to fix these hands here that I kind of messed up. Don't worry too much about it. So we will leave it right here, and that is the process whenever I draw female superheroes. Again, is this my favorite drawing in the world? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I hope you guys understand my methods whenever I construct or draw, females in comic books. That's usually the process I go through. Okay, so any questions you have, please do let me know below, and I will answer as many as I can. Okay. So here it is. Here is my final Supergirl, as it is. I'll be honest with you, it's not my best work at all. Okay, but at the same time, I'm hoping that with this particular tutorial that you will understand what I'm thinking of whenever I am drawing a female or even a male. It's pretty much almost the exact same thing I'm thinking of. It's just those little minor differences when it comes to drawing a female and a male, because at the end of the day, we are all human beings, okay? And we are all very similar in that sense. It's just those little itty bits of nuances that make us different. So that is my tutorial for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and trust me, I will draw better females in the future. But again, like I talked about in the actual tutorial, I am thinking about doing one where I draw females of all different shapes and sizes. Not just females, even males of all different shapes and sizes, also different types of poses, because that in itself is something completely different. And one thing I do want to do with these tutorials is keep this real time. I know a lot of you like it when I keep it real time, so you guys can follow along. So I will try to do my best to keep it that way. That's why I prefer to focus on one subject at a time. Okay, so I hope you learned something. I hope this helped you with your drawing skill. Again, please feel free to message me with your artwork. And again, I apologize. I know a lot of you have messaged me with your artwork. I am just so far behind in answering every one of you. So I'm doing my best, and it's getting to the point where I'm getting more and more followers, and which means I'm getting more and more people asking for help. And I'm doing my best. Please be patient, okay? I am doing my best, but there might come a time where I really have to streamline the way I help people just because of my limited time, okay? But I thank you all for watching. Now, this is the last human tutorial for a little bit. For the next, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, I will actually be concentrating more on perspective, okay? I'm actually teaching a course of perspective at Max of the Mud, which I'm starting next week, but I'm going to show you guys very, very basic perspective, and I'm going to start that next week. So the next 3-4 weeks, I'll be concentrating on doing perspective. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. But any other topic you'd like me to cover, please let me know down below. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up button, and please do subscribe to my channel. Will mean a lot to me. Thank you guys for following along. I really appreciate it. My name is James. I'm the box office artist, and I will see you all tomorrow.